Dividing a quantity in a given ratio, 6.3, page 345. Ratios are very closely connected to fractions. And to help us with problem-solving questions, we might think of ratios in terms of the number of parts. Let's look at this sketch of ours, and let's assume that all these parts are exactly the same size. Now when I have to write down the number of parts, I can say that we have one part of water, one part of blue, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts red. So if we want to write the ratio of blue to red, I can say it is 1 to 6. However, if I ask you what fraction is blue of the total, what fraction is blue, we can say the fraction of blue is 1 part out of a total of 7 parts. And the fraction of red will be 1 part, 6 parts out of 7. Now let's look at example 6, dividing a quantity into a particular ratio. The question is, divide 54 meters in a ratio of 4 to 5. Now there's two methods, and I'm going to show you both. It's up to you which method you want to use. However, whichever one you choose, please make sure that you do follow my instructions as well as my setting out to obtain full marks. For the first example, I will use the sketch to make it just a little bit more visual for you. So they say divide this red 54 meters into a ratio of 4 to 5, which estimate is about there. 4 parts to 5 parts. So we can see that the easiest way to do this is to break them up all into equal parts, which means we will have a total of 9 parts. So this is the principle that we'll use, and we won't do a sketch every time, but this is what you can see in your mind's eye. So with the unitary method, we're going to start off by saying 4 to 5 gives us a total of 4 plus 5, which is 9 parts. So 9 parts. 9 parts is 54 meters. And now we're going to say 1 part. And if you remember the unitary method from chapter 3, from 9 to 1, we had to divide by 9. Therefore, 54 divided by 9 will give us an answer. 1 part is 6 meters. Now I can divide 4 and 5. I will now multiply both of those with 6 to keep an equivalent ratio, and that will give us 4 times 6 is 24 to 5 times 6 is 30 meters. So the ratio that I will use is 24 to 30, and that is your final answer. To do the same question with fractional method comes down to basically the same thing. It's just another way of approaching. We will start off by saying for the pen, we'll say 4 to 5 is the same as 4 plus 5, which is 9 parts. Therefore, I will have 4/9 of 54, and I'll have 5/9 of, what's it, 54, and 5/9 of 54. 4/9, and that is the same as 4/9 multiplied by 54, which you can do with your calculator or you can do it manually. If we just look at if we look at 9 goes himself once, and in 54 6 times, 4 times 6 is 24. 5/9 of 54 is the same as 5/9 times 54, and we'll do exactly the same thing. We'll say 9 goes in himself once, in 54 6 times, 5 times 6 equals 30. So 4 to 5 is the same as 24 to 30 meters. Can you please pause this video and then do the following questions? 1 to 4, 5, column 2. In example 7, we do the same thing but with 3 terms. Now, I'm going to do this much faster for the sake of your sanity and for mine. So, if you could not follow, please watch the video again or ask your teacher when you have the opportunity. So, with the unitary method, we're going to divide $300 into a ratio of 2 to 1 to 3. So, 2 to 1 to 3 will give us total parts, a total of 2 plus 1 plus 3, and that is then a total of 6 parts. 6 parts is $300. Therefore, 1 part is, how do I get from 6 to 1? I'm going to divide by 6. So I'm going to divide by 6. And that gives us then $50. I will now use this into here. I'm going to say 2 times 50 to 1 times 50 to 3 times 50. And that will give us as a ratio of $100 to $50 to $150. That's the unitary method. To do the fraction method, I will start with exactly the same and say that two to 1 to 3 gives us a total of 6 parts. So going back to our fraction, 2 out of 6 of 300. The middle fraction will be 1 out of 6 of 300. And the last one will be 3 out of 6 of 300. This will give us 2 out of 6 times 300. And if we simplify, 6 goes himself once and 350 times. 1 over 6 times 300. You don't have to 6 go himself once and 350 times. And 3 out of 6 of 300. 6 go himself once and 350. And 50 times. Therefore, this equals, and I say 2 times 50 is 100, to 1 times 50 is 50, to 3 times 50 is 150. This is, any one of the two methods is acceptable. Please use the one that you find the best. I'd like you now to pause the video and do the following questions, 7BD and 8B. Once you have done it, please do mark your work before you carry on with the next section. The last example is finding a quantity from a given ratio. Your setting out is important for the marker to see exactly what you are doing. My suggestion is doing as I have done it. They say that the ratio of boys to girls at Birdsville College is 2 to 3. I'm going to start off by writing that and also indicating what I'm writing. Boys to girls, and I'm also going to put in a total. So boys to girls in this case is 2 to 3, which means there's a total of 5 parts. If there are 246 boys, which indicates to me that we are actually using 246 boys, which will come under the boys column. So 2 parts of the total will give us 246. If there are 246 boys at the school, how many students attend Birdsville College? Which means we want to find out what is this total. Is it necessary to find out the girls in this stage? My opinion is no, because we already have a ratio. We say to get to 2 to 46, I'm going to use the unitary method, and you can do it in one step. So if I go from 2 to 246, what do? I always go to 1 first, which means I first divide it by 2, and then I multiply it by 246. So from 5, on your calculator, I'm going to divide by 2 and then times by 246. I'd like you to please make sure that you write down this, as this is the whole communication. If you just give me an answer here, there's no way that I can give you the full marks because I don't know where your thinking process went. So on your calculator, you'll say 5 divided by 2 times 246, which will then give you an answer of 615. 615 students. That will be the total. If they would have asked you what's the total number of girls, I will do exactly the same thing. I'll divide 3 by 2 to take it to 1 and then multiply by 246. And that would have given us the total number of girls, which in this case was 369. More than one way to do it. I like this better than using any of the other methods. Can you now pause the video and please do the following questions? I won't scare you again with the laser beam. So if you can only do number 13, please mark your work and then you look at the rest of the video. So just to summarize, I would like you to remember this. When we're dividing in ratios, please remember that we look in terms of parts. Using the unitary method to divide quantities into a given ratio, we first find the total number of parts in the ratio, then we find the value of one part, and then we find the value of the number of parts required in every ratio. In the fraction method, we find out what is the number in the ratio over the total number of the parts, and then we calculate a fraction of the amount for each share of the ratio. Good luck. Thank you.